Greetings, I'm Maggie Moon. Thank you for joining me today for this very special interview where I have the wonderful opportunity to engage in an interview with a lady that I greatly admire. I first became familiar with her through her written works with Become a Living God, and I found her works to be very inspirational. Zeraphina, thank you so very much for being here. I'm so happy.
Hi Maggie, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
So, for those who may be new to the Left-Hand Path, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am a witch, an occultist, and an occult author. I have been practicing witchcraft since I was in my teens, have experienced psychic ability and psychic phenomenon and a real interest in the spirit world for as long as I can remember. I have more recently gotten into working with Become a Living God, so I had the absolute privilege of writing for them, which I'll come on to talk about a bit more shortly. And I've also, over the past few years, started working a lot more with what we'd consider black magic, so working with demonic entities, working with some of the demonic gatekeepers, and really working with a whole lot of different styles of magic. So I consider myself a chaos witch. I started off predominantly Wiccan, practicing Wiccan spells. I developed an interest in hoodoo style magic, and then after that got into working with demons.
You have written for Become a Living God. What was that experience like? And can we expect more written works from you in the future?
So writing for Become a Living God was an absolute honour and a privilege. I was really grateful and very excited to see my contribution in the Compendium of Bael, and extremely excited to see my contribution in the Compendium of Asmodeus, which is coming out on the 25th of August. I've been able to work alongside some authors, some occult authors that I have long admired and have nothing but absolute respect for. So to see my name alongside theirs is an absolute honour. I am going to be contributing towards the final compendium in the Gatekeeper series, and that is the Compendium of Satan. So I have done my ritual path working, I have received my gnosis, and I am currently in the process of writing up my contribution. So excited to get that completed and over to Become a Living God. I also have another project that I'm working on, which I'm kind of keeping under wraps just now until it's a bit more developed, but it's something that I am looking to write as a book by myself. So it'll be my first kind of solo piece. Also hoping to do a video course along with that, so watch this space. It's going to be really exciting and something that I think a lot of people will be able to benefit from.
That is awesome. When you first started out in the occult, where did you begin? And how has your path evolved over time along with you as you evolved as an individual and a witch?
So when I first started out getting into witchcraft and actually practicing magic, I would say I started off really focusing on Wicca, on white magic, so using candle spells, sympathetic magic, learning about different herbs and potions and remedies and alternative kind of healing methods in particular. I mean, by now, I'd say my path is very different. So I would consider myself a chaos witch, as you know, I've described as a combination of different magical practices, different types of witchcraft from various different cultures, and I kind of adopt a bit of everything. I really do like hoodoo as a style, so I do a lot of hoodoo style spells and a lot of hoodoo style magic. But I also work with demonic entities, so I've worked with several of the demonic gatekeepers, Lucifer, Baal, Asmodeus, Belial, and I work with a whole range of spirits, so I don't really restrict myself to one path or the other, to one type or the other. I'll as happily work with demons as I will with archangels, so I think it's important to incorporate both for a balance of that kind of light and dark on your path.
Yeah, I think a lot of us start out in Wicca and white magic. I know I spent a lot of years there myself. I was a Wiccan high priestess in an Alexandrian coven, and I stayed probably longer than I should have. You know, I was always investigating outside interests though, with ceremonial magic, the Golden Dawn, Hermetics, the black arts was always a pull for me, and I was always being talked out of it until I finally was like, enough. I have to just focus on myself and be true to me. And yeah, so I'm very happy that I did, and I'm very happy that you did as well. I am a huge fan of bath rituals. For myself, I first discovered their benefits when my children were still pretty small. And you know, I'm a military wife, so it's just me running the whole show often, and particularly when they were younger, he was, you know, away on a lot of tours, and so I had to maximize my time as best that I could. And I started doing my daily works and my daily meditations in the bath, as well as some rituals and spells even in the bath, because that was just, you know, my quiet space that I could have. And so I maximized it, and I've been using bath rituals, and I call my bath my cauldron, and I have to have a bath every day. It's part of my psychic hygiene. It's where I do my daily works and things like that. How did you begin with bath rituals, and what do you think the benefits are? And do you have any tips and tricks that you could share for anyone who might be interested in giving bath rituals a try?
So the bath rituals I kind of stumbled upon by accident, actually. It was something that I started to do as part of my kind of spiritual hygiene, and also just to relax, is taking various ritual and salt baths, and that's something that is an extremely important part of my practice every single day. It was when I started getting into a really deep state of relaxation, and perhaps listening to deep trance meditation music or astral projection music or high vibrational frequency music while I was taking these baths, that I would find that I would start to receive contact and information from various spirits without me even really having the intention or trying to invoke these entities. So I would find that I would open myself up and be on that kind of platform of receiving, that vibrational level of receiving gnosis, and whoever would come to me with information, with images, with words. And after my bath, I would go and write this down and kind of furiously write as much down as I could remember, thinking, you know, perhaps this was just me, this was just in my mind, this can't have been like a real kind of spirit contact. And it was only when I would then do, for example, a Google search on something that I had downloaded during one of these baths, one of these rituals. So, for example, a name or a word that I didn't know, or I would see a symbol that I didn't recognize, but I would sketch it. And I would later find out that these words, these images, had very, very significant meanings and happened to be very kind of apt for whatever was happening in my life at that point. So I'm so glad that I recorded all of that in my Book of Shadows, and that I did look into it further. Otherwise, I never would have realised that this was, in fact, a kind of portal for me to the other side, and to be able to invoke spirits then intentionally through that method. The benefit that I experience is that it puts me in a state of complete relaxation. So if we are trying to invoke any spirits, it's important to get to that kind of state of absolute relaxation and being able to let go of any kind of conscious thoughts or worries or concerns. And so being in a warm salt bath not only relaxes you to that point, but you're also not conscious of your body as much. So because you're floating, you're not conscious of any sort of aches or pains. You feel very soothed. It's almost like being in that kind of womb-like atmosphere of amniotic fluid, and water in itself, especially salt water, is a great portal to the spirit world. So when you combine that with things like the fire element of candles and incorporate perhaps some of your blood by anointing the candle, then that's incorporating some of the iron, which is your earth element representation, and some incense, which is your air representation. And so you're really incorporating all of the different elements, which are very conducive to then being able to make contact with an entity of your choice. For anyone who's interested in giving it a go, I'd say there are loads of different herbal kind of potions that you can make up. So there are different types of ritual bath that you can make with different essential oils and different ingredients for different purposes. And in the hoodoo style of working, there are different ritual baths that you can take along with reciting various different psalms for the purpose of, for example, removing any sort of crossing or hexing work that's on you, or attracting wealth, giving yourself spiritual protection, that kind of thing. So what I would say is just, do some research, try different things and see what works for you. At the very least, you're going to have a very relaxing experience and a very kind of physically beneficial and emotionally relaxing experience. But in fact, it may get to the point where you are able to incorporate that into your spiritual practice and into your practice in terms of spirit contact.
Can you talk a little bit about psychic hygiene, what it is and why it is so very important to the magical practitioner to incorporate some of these practices into their lives? Do you have any advice or some tips as to how they can start implementing these practices into their daily routine as well?
So psychic hygiene is extremely important. I do talk about that in my contribution to the Compendium of Asmodeus, in terms of getting your ritual space both physically and spiritually clean, and at the right kind of vibrational, energetic level to work with one of these divine entities. And equally, it's important to get your body into that same kind of state of preparation. So it's something that really I've incorporated as part of my daily practice, just as much as I'll, in terms of physical hygiene, wash my hair and brush my teeth. I will know if I've skipped taking salt baths or meditating, or even using things like sage to clear the air in my own property, using black salt as a kind of defense against negative energy coming into the home. If I don't practice those techniques, then I will start to feel the negative effects of that. So it's extremely important to get into a routine of taking steps to protect yourself spiritually and psychically. So that can be anything from the kind of ritual baths and the use of things like Florida water for floor washes in your home and sage for the atmosphere. It can be using high vibrational frequency music for the atmosphere around you to get yourself into a more positive vibrational energetic level. And it can be as simple as focusing on being physically healthy. And the two things go hand in hand, the spiritual health and physical health, and making sure that you're having a healthy, balanced diet, plenty of exercise, and enough sleep will not only make you feel good physically, but it does strengthen your aura and your kind of psychic protection against negative energy, negative entities, and psychic attack as well. So it's important because prevention is better than cure. So it's important to take steps to make sure that you're kind of on top of your spiritual hygiene and keeping yourself strong and well in that sense, rather than being completely open and vulnerable to attack and then waiting until perhaps you are so overwhelmed with either illness or misfortune or bad luck that you feel then that you need help from someone else. You feel so unwell that you're incapable of helping yourself. And if you get to that stage, then you might first need to reach out to an occultist or to a witch or to a healer for some help in actually taking slightly more kind of heavy-handed action against whatever's happening with you. You know, it's just like general health. Prevention is better than cure, so you're always better to keep yourself strong and protected psychically and spiritually, rather than wait until there's a problem and then try to fix it. Just as you're better to keep yourself fit and well in kind of general health, rather than wait until there's a problem and have to take medication or treatment to fix that problem. I would say choose something that works for you. So even if it doesn't have to be everything all at once, even if it is taking a salt bath once a week, or even if it is meditating for 10 minutes a day, whatever is beneficial to you in terms of building up that kind of spiritual strength and stamina, and making sure that you are incorporating some level of ongoing protection into your life. Do whatever works for you and try new things and see what works well and what doesn't, because everyone's different.
That is awesome, truly powerful. Thank you so very much for sharing that. Do you offer any services? Do you have a YouTube channel or a website? And if so, how can people reach out to you to obtain your services or to learn more about the things that you offer?
So I do offer services, yes. I've just launched my website, which is Zeraphina Angelus, all one word, .com, and I have a YouTube channel, Zeraphina Angelus, where I have uploaded my first video just a couple of days ago on a hoodoo style sour jar spell, and I'm going to be uploading another video on love magic very soon. I'm also going to be interviewing EA Coetting for my channel, which I'm really excited about. I offer consultations, tarot readings, and various different rituals for hire. So everything from spiritual protection and kind of healing magic to baneful magic to love magic to wealth and prosperity, justice and court case magic with Belial. I offer a whole lot of different services. So if anyone is interested in having a consultation or looking at my rituals for hire, then I would ask you to check out my website and feel free to contact me either on Facebook, Zeraphina Angelus, or through my website email address, which is contact@ZeraphinaAngelus, that's all one word again, .com. So contact@ZeraphinaAngelus.com.
Well, thank you so very much for being a guest on my channel.
Thank you so much for having me, Maggie. Thank you.
And for those of you who are interested in obtaining any services from Zeraphina, or if you would like to learn more about the services that she offers, or head on over to her YouTube channel, subscribe to her channel. And until next time, I wish you dark and wild blessings.